Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am pleased to have you here today. We will be exploring a brief history of GMP, or good manufacturing practices. My name is Dr. S.K. Singh, and I hold a PhD in this field. Over the course of this presentation, we will look into how GMP has evolved over time, its significance in the industry, and key milestones. I look forward to sharing this journey with you. Let's get started. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. So back in the day, many of the remedies people used for common ailments, like syrups to calm colicky bobbies or tonics for adults, often contained ingredients like alcohol, opium, or even morphine. And unfortunately, these substances led to addiction for many who relied on them. This was a serious problem that highlighted the need for regulation. That's why, in 1906, the law was amended to require that certain dangerous ingredients be clearly labeled on all drugs. It was a major step toward protecting consumers. Another key point is the issue of mislabeling. When a product was inaccurately or falsely labeled, it was called misbranding. And this became illegal because it was deceptive and potentially hazardous. So overall, this act marked an important move toward transparency and safety in the drug industry, helping to build trust and ensure people knew exactly what they were using. In 1935, sulfa drugs were introduced, marking a significant advancement in the fight against infections. Many manufacturers quickly began producing these new anti-infectives, helping to make them more widely available. However, there was a serious problem that emerged when one company used diethylene glycol in an oral elixir of sulfanilamide. Now, diethylene glycol is a poisonous solvent and is chemically similar to antifreeze, which made it extremely dangerous. Tragically, before anyone realized the danger, 107 people, including many children, lost their lives. This was a devastating event that highlighted the need for stricter regulation. As a response, Congress passed the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act of 1938. This law was a turning point because it required companies to prove that their products were safe before they could be marketed. It was a crucial step toward ensuring public safety and building trust in the medications we rely on today. In the 1940s and 1950s, we saw some pivotal moments that really shaped modern drug regulation. For example, in 1941, there was a tragic incident where nearly 300 people were killed or injured by sulfathiazole tablets, a type of sulfa drug. What happened was that these tablets had been contaminated with phenobarbital, a sedative, which caused serious harm. This incident was a wake-up call that highlighted the need for stricter manufacturing controls. As a result, the FDA was prompted to revise its requirements for manufacturing and quality control, which eventually led to what we now know as Good Manufacturing Practices, or GMPs. Then, a few years later, in 1944, the Public Health Services Act was passed. This was a significant piece of legislation because it addressed a broad range of health concerns, including the regulation of biological products and the control of communicable diseases. These events from the 1940s and 1950s really illustrate how tragic incidents and public health needs drove the development of more rigorous standards and regulations, helping to protect consumers and improve the safety of our medications. Let's start with the Drug and Cosmetic Act of 1940. Its main goal was to ensure that the drugs and cosmetics sold in India are safe, effective, and meet the prescribed quality standards. This was a significant step towards protecting public health and ensuring product reliability. Moving on to the Drug and Cosmetic Rules of 1945, these are the detailed regulations established by the Indian government under the framework of the 1940 Act. Essentially, they provide the specific guidelines and procedures to implement the Act's objectives effectively. Now, an important milestone in this period was the publication of the first edition of the Indian Pharmacopoeia in 1955. This was a crucial development because it set the official standards for drugs in India, helping to unify quality control across the country. Overall, the 1940s and 1950s marked a foundational era for pharmaceutical regulation in India. These laws and standards laid the groundwork for modern drug safety and quality assurance practices we see today, reinforcing the overall theme of building a robust healthcare system. Back in the 1960s, thalidomide was marketed across Europe primarily as a sleeping pill and also to help with morning sickness during pregnancy. At that time, regulatory agencies approved its sale for these uses without knowing about its serious side effects. What's crucial to understand is that they had no idea it was teratogenic, meaning it could cause abnormal fetal development. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. It caused severe deformities in developing fetuses, particularly in the arms and legs. Children whose mothers took thalidomide during the first trimester were often born with drastically deformed limbs. In fact, around 10,000 cases of infant deformities in Europe have been linked directly to thalidomide use. This tragic chapter highlights how vital thorough testing and understanding of a drug's effects are before it hits the market. It underscores the importance of regulation and vigilance in safeguarding public health. Thalidomide really galvanized public opinion and brought a lot of safety concerns to the forefront. In response, two key legislators, Kefauver and Harris, played a crucial role in pushing through much stricter legislation in Congress. These amendments not only required companies to test drugs for safety, but also to prove that they were effective for their intended uses. This was a significant shift because it meant that drugs had to demonstrate efficacy, not just safety, before they could be marketed. The regulations also mandated that clinical trials be better regulated, specifically, that drugs be tested in animals prior to testing in humans. Investigator responsibility was emphasized, making sure that those supervising the studies were accountable for the drugs under investigation. Additionally, manufacturers now had to be transparent. They needed to inform participants if a drug was investigational and obtain their consent before testing on them. And most importantly, drugs had to show they actually worked before they could be approved for sale. The FDA's authority was expanded too, giving it control over how prescription drugs could be advertised to prevent misleading claims. Finally, in 1963, the first Good Manufacturing Practices, or GMPs, for finished pharmaceuticals were finalized. All of these measures together marked a major turning point in drug regulation, aiming to protect consumers and ensure drug efficacy and safety. Now, let's take a look at the 1970s, a pivotal decade for product regulation. During this time, the Code of Federal Regulations was published specifically to establish clear guidelines for product regulation. This was a significant step toward formalizing safety and quality standards. In 1978, there was a major expansion of Good Manufacturing Practices, or GMPs, for drugs, which are outlined in 21 CFR Parts 210 and 211. These updates helped strengthen the framework for ensuring that pharmaceutical products are consistently produced to meet safety and efficacy standards. Additionally, for the first time, GMPs were finalized for medical devices, covered under 21 CFR Part 820. This was a crucial development because it extended the same level of regulatory oversight and quality assurance to medical devices, aligning them with pharmaceuticals. Overall, these regulatory advancements in the 1970s aimed to enhance the safety and effectiveness of all products, reflecting a growing commitment to public health and trust in the products we use every day. This decade set the stage for more rigorous and comprehensive regulation that continues to evolve today. In the 1980s and 1990s, we saw some important developments in infant formula regulation. In 1980, Congress passed the Infant Formula Act, which was a significant milestone. This law gave the FDA the authority to set and enforce standards for commercial infant formulas and to specify their nutritional requirements. This was in response to a serious issue in 1979, when reports emerged that over 100 infants became seriously ill because their formulas lacked chloride, especially in some soy-based products. This highlighted the need for stricter oversight and safety measures. As a result, manufacturers are now required to analyze each batch of formula for nutrient levels before it reaches consumers. They also conduct safety checks, perform stability tests to ensure the product remains safe over time, and use batch codes on each container. Additionally, they must keep detailed records of production and analysis, which helps ensure accountability and safety. All these measures show how regulation evolved to better protect our most vulnerable, infants, by ensuring the formulas they rely on are safe, nutritious, and consistently produced. This period really marked a turning point in safeguarding infant health through stricter standards and oversight. In 1982, a tragic and shocking incident occurred that deeply impacted consumer safety. A 12-year-old girl named Mary Kellerman told her parents she was feeling like she had a cold. They gave her an extra-strength Tylenol capsule, which was a common over-the-counter remedy at the time. However, within a few hours, Mary tragically died. This wasn't an isolated case. 6 other people also lost their lives in this incident, including 3 members of one family. This event led Johnson & Johnson to take immediate action. They announced a nationwide recall of 31 million bottles of Tylenol, an enormous response to ensure public safety. Their investigation uncovered that a criminal tamperer had opened some capsules and laced them with cyanide. As a result, the company destroyed all 31 million bottles of Tylenol, which was the best-selling over-the-counter medicine in the country at the time. This incident not only highlighted the dangers of product tampering, but also spurred significant changes in packaging and safety measures across the industry. This story underscores the importance of product safety and how a company's quick, responsible response can help restore public trust. It also serves as a critical lesson in the ongoing effort to protect consumers from malicious actions and ensure the integrity of our everyday products. In 1999, the FDA introduced a new approach for inspecting device companies, which marked a significant shift in regulatory oversight. Instead of just a surface review, this technique focuses on 4 major subsystems: management controls, design controls, production and process controls, and corrective and preventive actions. These areas are critical because they ensure the quality and safety of medical devices from development through manufacturing. Then, moving into 2001, we see the adoption of the ICHQ 7A guidance, also known as the Good Manufacturing Practice Guidance for Active Pharmaceutical Ingredients, or APIs. This guidance was adopted not only by the United States, but also by Europe and Japan, making it a truly international standard. It's become the de facto manufacturing benchmark for APIs, which are essential components in many medications. Connecting these points back to our overall theme, both developments highlight how regulatory agencies and international bodies are working together to establish consistent, rigorous standards. This consistency helps ensure that the products we rely on are safe, effective, and manufactured to the highest quality. In 2002, the FDA introduced a new approach for drug manufacturing inspections with a focus on compliance. They developed a manual specifically for these inspections, emphasizing a more targeted, risk-based method. The key shift was that instead of inspecting every system in detail, the FDA now concentrates on 2 or more systems during each routine inspection. Importantly, they always include the quality system as a mandatory coverage area. This means that the inspection teams prioritize systems like facilities and equipment, materials, production processes, packaging and labeling, and laboratory controls. The idea is to streamline inspections while still effectively assessing compliance. The FDA has publicly stated that if any one of these systems is out of control, they consider the entire company to be out of control. This new technique underscores the importance of a holistic quality approach, where controlling key systems ensures overall compliance. It's a significant step toward more efficient oversight, but it also highlights that all systems are interconnected. If one falters, it can impact the whole operation. This aligns with our overarching theme of ensuring robust quality management throughout the manufacturing process. In 2006, we saw a significant update in Europe with the restructuring of the EU GMP guidelines. This was a major step towards strengthening the regulatory framework and ensuring higher standards across the pharmaceutical industry. Then, moving into 2007 and 2008, we witnessed the heparin scandal that shook the industry. The anticoagulant produced in China was linked to 82 confirmed deaths in the US, along with numerous serious allergic reactions. In Germany alone, there were 27 severe reactions following injection. This incident underscored the critical importance of quality control and traceability in raw materials. Baxter AG responded quickly by recalling all batches supplied in the US, highlighting how a single compromised ingredient, specifically oversulfated chondroitin sulfate, was added intentionally to reduce costs. Finally, in 2011, we saw another revision of the EU GMP guidelines. This ongoing process of revision demonstrates the commitment to adapting regulations to new challenges, ensuring the safety, quality, and efficacy of medicinal products. Throughout these years, the key message remains clear. Continuous improvement and vigilance are essential for protecting patient health and maintaining industry integrity. In 2012, there was a major crackdown against a Chinese drug counterfeiter, a fraud manufacturer. The Chinese authorities conducted a significant raid and managed to arrest around 2,000 people suspected of being involved in counterfeiting drug products. This operation was quite impactful because the counterfeit products they seized were valued at approximately $180 million. This highlights how serious and organized the counterfeit drug trade can be, and it underscores the importance of vigilant regulatory enforcement to protect public health. Fast forward to 2018, there was a key revision of the EU GMP guidelines. These guidelines are fundamental because they set the standards for manufacturing practices in the pharmaceutical industry across Europe. The revision aimed to improve quality, safety, and consistency in drug production, reflecting the evolving landscape of pharmaceutical manufacturing. Connecting these points to our overall theme, both events demonstrate the ongoing efforts to combat counterfeit drugs and enhance manufacturing standards globally. It's a reminder that maintaining strict regulations and staying updated with guidelines are crucial steps in ensuring drug integrity and patient safety. For further support, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're here to help you with any questions or additional information you might need. Thank you so much for your time and attention throughout this presentation. We truly appreciate your interest and engagement, and we look forward to connecting with you if you need any assistance.